You've been freaking yourself out a bit recently, haven't you? You've been freaking yourself out because you've been watching things materialize. I'm getting this energy that you've been watching things materialize that you thought you were crazy about, where you kind of like spun out in your head, but it's almost like things that you knew were going to happen. The energies that the angels are giving me, their 8s could also be really significant, just so you guys know. 8-8, 8.8, 888, okay? This has to do with abundance, and it has to do with materialization of your manifestations. Whew! The angels were telling me it's like you know the story, but you forgot you read the story. They were giving me the image of like a book that you read when you were younger, and so you knew, almost like, I'll give you The Alchemist, for example. Let's say you like read The Alchemist a super long time ago, and you were reading it, and like as you were reading it, you were like, oh, I know that like he's going on this journey, but I know it's not about like a pot of gold at the end of this journey. I know that, and it's as you're reading it, almost like you've already read the story, almost like you already know. But then you still read the whole thing, and then you're like, okay, well, I was right. But then you like still, like, it continues on in the story as if he is going for like a big treasure, like a gold, like a something physical, right? And what he finds is so much more than just physical. But I'm getting this energy that that's what's been happening for you recently, is that you've been watching things materialize, where it's almost like you knew that they were going to happen. It's almost like you know the story. You've known the story this whole time, and then you would just like get in your head about it and be like, I don't know, like there's a lot of like, there's been a lot of back and forth. And then recently you've been watching it materialize. You've been watching things, and it's not just one thing, it's like several different things that you've been manifesting or like known were going to happen. It's like it's like you knew your story, like you knew your journey, but you don't know the journey. You don't know, like there's certain things that like there's a bit of a throat block here. There's certain things that like threw you off or made you think that you were wrong, but now you've been watching yourself be right. Like you've been proving yourself right almost as things have been showing up in your reality, and it's an energy that's a little bit freaky because you're having these interesting realizations where you're like, whoa, like if I'm right about this, if I was right about this manifestation, what does that mean for all the rest of my manifestations? What does that mean for everything else that I've had dreams about? What does that mean for like what younger me used to think was my like future? Like you're having these moments where you're like, if that was all always gonna happen, what else do I know that's gonna happen? Funny, there's a throat block here. I feel like it's that fear. It's definitely, yeah, because watching all of this happen for you, I'm getting this energy that you're kind of like, they're almost showing me the Two of Swords, where it's this energy of halt. It's like you're realizing quite how literal your story is going to come to life. Literally, your story is going to come to life. And that energy is, honestly, it's a little bit scary. Like I almost feel like you're intimidating yourself with your own power. Like you're starting to recognize who you're actually meant to be, and that all of the like big dreams that even if you just kept them to yourself and never told anyone about them, you're like, whoa, like these might actually be real. And it's this energy of you're like, that energy where you like look at your dream, it's like, it's literally like speechlessness, but more than that, it's intimidation of your own highest potential. Like you're intimidated to become the version of you that you know you're meant to be, because you can almost feel it's almost like you can feel the undercurrent that's taking you there and how powerful it actually is. I'm almost getting the image of a river, like in an undercurrent that just whips you, and then you're just miles down the river so fast, and it's a whole different reality. And it's not even that it's gonna happen fast, because that's not what this message is about. This message is about the fact that you're feeling how powerful the undercurrent of your transformations are or is, right? And it's intimidating. It's putting you in this energy of halt. This throat block. Whew. It's putting you in this energy of halt where you're almost like, because I feel like you can feel what you have to move through in order for this to come into fruition. Like, because you see it's almost like you can feel the version of you that you're meant to become, almost like they've been guiding you this whole time, and they have been guiding you this whole time, like your higher self has been with you this entire journey, but you can feel the power in your higher self, and you're like, there's almost like a lack of understanding, because you're like, how do I go from being this to that? You know, and that energy that you feel, and you know that only happens through deep transformative work inside of yourself. And so you're almost intimidated by the transformative work that you can feel between you and your higher self, because you know that that's the only place you're meant to be, because it's your journey, it's your story. It's like, it's that story that you don't remember, but you know it. And so when certain things, I'm hearing that when certain things have been showing up in your life recently, you've been a little bit, I almost feel like you've been in this interesting timeline where you've been learning to trust. I want to say just your intuition, but it's more than that. It's like learning to trust your heart's drive is the energy that I'm getting. Like you almost, certain things would show up in your reality and you were like, I just know that there's something there. But you would still go back and forth in your head, but you were learning to lean into, I feel like you still probably are, but you were learning to lean into this energy of, if my heart is calling to that, whatever that may be, right, whatever it was in your reality, then you were learning to trust in your heart's knowing almost. It's like you, I have this one writing that I wrote. It's like, you know what's meant for you, and that knowing, I promise you can feel it in your bones. And that's going in one of my books, and that's what they just told me. They said it's not just your heart, it's your bones. It's like your storyline is singed into your bones, and you can't see it, but you can feel it in your bones. There's something really significant about bones that's so funny. Whoo! I just have to know, I love like really witchy shit. And I know you guys know that about me, but like I love like wicked, like I love when people like hang bones and do shit like that. Like I just think it's like so like epic. I would never like do that because I don't believe in harm in that way, but like I just think it's so fucking cool. Like I've always loved that stuff. Anyways, that was a side note, but that's the energy that they were just giving me. They were showing me like bone magic, which is interesting. But they're telling me that like as these things have been showing up in your reality and your bones have been like, I'm almost seeing ignition in your bones, which is interesting. It's almost like, it's like spell work written into your bones, and like as something would show up in your reality, it would like illuminate inside of you, and you would be like, there's something there. And then maybe it wouldn't happen in such a like rapid time that you would go through these interesting like cycles with yourself where you were like, I know that there's something there, but then you would like, I'm almost getting like run yourself dry with the concept that you're crazy or you don't understand, or like how could you have thought that, how could you have like gone that wild, or like there's almost this energy of like maybe you were like raised to put yourself down or not believe in like the dream work is the energy that I'm getting. Like maybe you were raised to believe in reality, you know, and not to believe in like intuition or like dreaming, literally. Like I feel like there was something about your dreams getting squashed, to be completely honest. Like I feel like, and maybe it was just the culture or society that you grew up in, but there was definitely something about like dream work was like a joke, okay? And now you're like falling back into that dream work, okay? It's like your bones would ignite, right? You would know, you would be like, something's here. And then you would go through all these cycles of like not thinking anything was there until you ran yourself dry to a point where you were like, okay, well, if that's the case, like, why did I even put all of this effort and energy into it? And then you were like, okay, I guess I'll just let it go. And it wasn't meant to be, is almost the energy that I'm getting. Like, I'm feeling like you, like, it's so interesting because maybe there's this misunderstanding of the cycle that's coming through here, okay? Because you would get to this point and then at the very last minute when you were like, I'm just done. Like, why did I put all this effort and energy of my soul and source self into this concept? And the reason why is because you knew it was meant for you. But I'm almost getting this energy that like it's in that moment where you're like, all right, I'm letting it go, and you detach from that energy. You're like, it's fine if it never happens, and then it would show up. And I feel like this has happened for you with several different things in your reality now, okay? That's so freaking wild. And I feel like it's actually been happening for you for a minute, but all of a sudden, like in the past, I want to say the past like 6-month cycle-ish, things have been happening a little bit faster than normal. Not faster, but like more things have been showing up than normal. Like, and these are all things that intuitively you've known. It's like the moment that they happened, you were like, I know that this is something that's meant to come into fruition. But then again, with that cycle, it's almost like you've been it's like you've been challenging your soul or your essence to fall back into the trust of what you know beyond the concept of reality, okay? It's almost like what you know inside of yourself and in your bones that is beyond and doesn't have understanding. And I feel like this is really significant for you, because there's almost like you're having a trust fall with the concept of the unknown. Like you're truly having a trust fall into what is beyond our conception. It's almost like you know that there's more to this. Like you might be someone who literally like contemplates. I'm getting an energy that you might be someone who contemplates like reality, and you almost like look at certain things and you're like, this just doesn't make sense. You know, like maybe you're someone who looks at it and you're like, there's no way this isn't a video game. But then you're like, but of course, like that doesn't make sense either. And so there's almost like, I just feel like there's this energy where why does this always look crooked to me? Where you contemplate and then you look at everything and you're like, there just is something deeper here. But then again, like we don't have that consciousness. We don't have that proof, you know, because it's beyond us. That's something that you just know in your bones. You know in your bones that there's just something more to this life than just this, you know, than just the reality of what we're taught, than just, and yes, presence is so fantastic and like beautiful and just wonderful to be in, but there's almost like something more, you know, and you can feel that. And this message found you because you can feel that there's just something more in this reality, right? This is extremely significant for you because you're learning to believe in what isn't seen, is what I'm hearing, and what is just felt. There's almost an energy of like maybe throughout a large portion of your life, you, again with like that reality, there's something here about like you were taught to believe in reality, to fall back on reality. I'm almost hearing worst case scenarios. You may have been raised in a family where like they were like, make sure you have a backup plan, make sure you have like worst case scenario situations, make sure that you have like everything planned out in your head so that you know how to move and how to act if things don't go the way that you're insinuating them to go, right? And I feel like through that whole like time of you being raised in that, this is so crazy, oh my gosh, through that time of you being raised in that way, it's almost like you were raised with all the knowledge that is not the truth that your essence knows. And so you were I almost feel like your soul chose that solely so that you could find remembrance. Like there's almost something here about like remembering who you are. And I feel like through this, like through being thrown into a place where it's almost like they gave you all this false knowledge. They're showing me the movie Divergent. Like they're showing me, it's like Divergent, and there's another one that's like it too, The Maze Runner. It's movies like this where it's like they throw you in and you don't remember anything, and they want to see if you can come back to yourself. Like they want to see if you can remember. And there's always those one beings that wake up and they're like, something's off. I know something more than what this is, right? And they come back to life. They end up being those epic characters, right? And that's the energy that I'm feeling. It's almost like you were thrown into this and your soul chose to like be taught. It's not that it's false truth, because it is truth in a version of this reality, of this concept of this world, right? Because like obviously like we can look at a tree and we can map out the matter and we can weigh the density. Like it's not it's not false. It's just concept, and it's just perception in this physical world based on the rules of this physical world, right? So it's not that it's false truth, it's just not your truth is the truth of the matter. And this whole thing, I'm almost getting this energy that like it's an experiment for your soul to see if you can come back to knowing and falling and trusting back into your knowledge that is beyond just this vessel, right? Like in your bones, but I'm also getting like maybe it's also singed into your soul. Maybe you have like hidden inner knowledge that's like actually higher consciousness that's singed into your soul, and so you know more than you realize you know. Ooh, this is like probably one of my favorite messages I've ever given, because like I love this shit. Like I'm a big knowledge seeker and I love hidden knowledge. That's like one of my favorite things on this planet. So I love you guys. I love you. Like I'm really excited to be reading this energy. Jeez. Whew. Okay. But I feel like this is extremely significant. Let's roll back into like, this has been like a pattern, a cyclic pattern that you've been moving through for quite a while of you waking back up or like coming back into remembrance. That's a really significant word for this, okay? It's coming back into the remembrance of who you are, and that you know more about this story than you're putting on, or that you can even really like fully explain. I'm almost getting the energy of like, you're gonna be able to relate to this too. Anyone in the world can relate to this. But you know those like friends that like, when it's not you, it's so much easier to see it. But you'll have a friend and they're like, there's something here about this. And you're like, yeah, okay. And then so much time passes, but then a few years later, ooh, so much confirmation. You look at them and they were right. Like, and they knew it before anything made sense. And you look at them and you're like, this is super interesting, because it's almost like you knew that that was going to happen, even though that made zero sense for that to happen. Like, how did you know that so early on? Like, how did you know that so far in advance that that's how it was going to go? You know, because someone on the outside looks at you. It's almost that concept of like, there's so many people in our lives, and we're taught to do this, which I think should be just like completely rewritten. We should totally remove this. You should never ever doubt people's knowledge or their truth. People choose things for a reason. They find things because they know they're meant to experience them. Like, there is so much more depth to our choices in our reality than people realize. And we look at certain people and certain experiences and certain things and we're like, this. And all of your friends on the outside are like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like they're like, why that? Like, they're like, that doesn't make sense. But then if you look at it from like a zoomed out perspective, 3 years later, you're like, this was their path. Like, duh, that makes so much sense now. Like, why did they make that one dumb decision? Because look at where it led. It was a ripple. It was a rock into a ripple of the lake of their life. Like, that made so much of a difference. And you totally don't realize that that's what that was, you know? And even in the moment, sometimes they don't know why they're making that decision. I feel like we all do that. Like, we're all like, why are we making this one decision when it makes zero sense? But there is nothing in your soul that can say no. You're just like, I'm doing this. You know, it's like it's almost like you have to, but you don't have to because free will, but like, you're like, I'm doing it. Like, I'm going that way. I'm diving into that pool. Because you just know that there's something there for you to learn. It's like, and that's your knowing in your bones, right? But that's the energy too, right? There's so much that we don't understand that is just so much deeper. And so this, okay, let me come back. And so this cyclic energy that you've been falling into is you learning to trust in the knowing beyond you, in the knowing that's leading you where you're meant to be. And as we started this message out, right? You've been scaring yourself recently. You've been freaking yourself out because you're starting to realize who you're actually meant to be. Like, I feel like you've just tapped, they're giving me the iceberg from the Titanic. You've just tapped the tip of the iceberg of who you actually are. And now you're realizing how much there is under the surface that you have still to explore within yourself. And you're like, whoa. this is intimidating, right? Like, you look at an iceberg, I'm sure you all can see it right now. There's famous photos of icebergs where like you can see the tip, but then it takes the photo all the way down into the body of water, and it's that deep, icy, gorgeous blue, right? And it's so insane, and it can literally take things out. It's so powerful. Like, you don't see it coming because you can only see the tip of the iceberg, right? But that's you. Like, you are this whole ass iceberg, and you're also the water holding the iceberg. Let me just say, you're so much more than just the iceberg. But in this concept that we're speaking upon, you are this iceberg, and you have just dug into the tip of yourself. You're like, whoa. And so now you're feeling intimidated because you're like, there is so much between me and me becoming all of this water at once, right? And that is what's causing you to halt at this time. At this time, you're feeling intimidated. You're freaking yourself out because you're like, whoa, like, what if all these dreams are real? What if everything that I've actually wanted and manifested is actually meant to come into fruition? And in these moments of your recognition, you're like, oh, can I do it? I'm almost getting this energy of like, maybe you're doubting yourself. Maybe it's this energy of like, can I take this on and succeed? But it's funny because I don't think that you think you don't or you won't succeed. Like, I actually feel like you know that you will. Oh, so that's what it is. It's not that you're scared or that you're doubting that you will succeed. It's that, I think it's that you know you will. You know that you're going to cultivate this reality, that you're going to bring everything into reality, and the truth of the fact is that this intimidation is of your knowing of success. And that success tells you so much more than just what's on the surface, because you look at that energy, you look at that higher self, and you're like, yeah, there's a lot of swimming through my own deep corners to get there. And that's where that fear is stemming from. That's where that intimidation is stemming from, is the fact that you know that in the becoming, you are meant to visit all the different edges of yourself. Swim against all the different currents that you create and have created. Recognize what is all of your own truth and what hasn't been. There's so much of this exploration that feels daunting. It's very daunting because it's the greatest exploration that you'll ever journey upon, because it's the exploration of you, and you, only you, truly know and understand how deep your essence goes. Wow, that's so significant. 2303 was on the timer as I was saying that. Wow. There's more here, but I'm gonna breathe for a sec, and the timer's gonna tell me I have to restart the camera in a sec, so. Whew. I feel like there's gonna be a more private message that's coming through with this. That's most of the channeled. There's gonna be other stuff because there's teams of lights here that wanna come through, but I'm just gonna breathe for a second. I feel like green could be really significant. It cut off. I need to figure out why my camera does that, but it only goes to like 23 minutes. And I think it's because my chip isn't large enough to like let it record for longer, or maybe it's just that my camera does that. But I can't imagine why it doesn't go longer. Like, I feel like it should record a lot longer without cutting off. I don't know. There's a lot of energy. All right, I'm ready. I just needed to breathe for a minute. Maybe you need to take a minute to just sit down and breathe. Maybe you need to rest. Yeah, I feel like you need to rest. There's a message here that it's not that you're overdoing it, But it's that I almost get this energy of like rushing into it. Like I'm feeling like there's almost this like head first, like let's just get it over with type of energy, but that's not what this is about. That's not what you're experiencing is about. Interesting. Green can be so significant. There's a green bird flying all around right now. He's really cute. Yeah, there is something here about you not slowing down. There's almost like this running energy. And I feel like your running is taking you out of the journey. They're showing me the alchemist again, which is funny. They're showing me the alchemist in the scene when he is he's like in the desert. He's just left that little like town, and he's in the desert, like driving towards where the treasure will be. It's almost like he's on the path. He's doing everything he needs to be doing. And in that moment is when you soften and you just sit back and allow time to do its thing. Like I'm almost getting a message that like maybe you're running trying to I'm getting almost like you're trying to alchemize time to be less. But time is the gift at this point. Time is what's making everything fall into where it's meant to be right now. Like there are certain things that are catching up to your frequency that are meant for you. And the only way that they can do that is through time, is what I'm hearing. And that's really, really significant. So it's almost like right now, you're not supposed to be hitting a horse and trying to make it run faster, or a camel, I guess, with our alchemist vibe, and being like, go faster. You're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be sitting back and reading poetry and stories to one another. Like, there's an energy here of just being in time. Time is very, very significant right now. I almost feel like divine timing is what they're telling me, but even more than that, you're rushing. Because you see where you're meant to be, and you know what's meant to happen. But you're meant to be living out time and not living out. They're giving me like, this is a book, not a movie. You're supposed to be living out a book, not a movie. And the book, it's, you know when they make a book into a movie and you're like, what the fuck, bro? Like, you got rid of all the good shit, you know? Like, what about all of this and this and this and this essence and this essence, you know? Like, that's what you're living, is the book, not the movie. You're not supposed to be living the rerun of just the things that someone else thought was important, or that you even thought was important. You're meant to be living out all the little moments, even the moments where you just feel and sit in presence. They're giving me campfire energy. Like how you sit when you go camping with a bunch of people at a campfire, and there's no rush to be anywhere else. You're just by the campfire, hanging out and being. And I feel like that's where you're meant to be right now. Oh, I'm actually getting a message that this is coordinated to... Ooh, so much. Coordinated to the summer. We've been talking about the summer for a while, right? In the collectives. And for those of you that are still here, you've probably watched a lot of those collective messages about the summer being like one of the wildest summers of your dreams. Like, this is one of the craziest summers. And they're telling me that this is one of the wildest summers of your dreams because this is one of the summers that you get to sit back and watch everything happen for you instead of making things happen. This is one of the summers where you get to sit and be like you're sitting at a campfire and just appreciate what comes into fruition. Like, it's almost like that's what makes it so incredibly wild, is that you get to just witness magic happening all around you and within you because you have worked so hard to get to this point. Like, this is actually one of the gifts of this magical, like, mystical summer that's coming your way, is that you don't have to overcompensate. Like, you just get to enjoy and be. And this is going to be one of those summers that you look back on and you're like, that was so significant, because that was one of the first times I let myself go to just enjoy, to just be, to not rush into the next place I was meant to be. Like, it's going to be extremely significant. And I'm hearing that in this energy of not rushing, of just being in time and appreciating the opportunity of time, you're actually going to be pulling so many of your manifestations into reality, because you're not putting a fuse box or timer on them. You're just letting them be where they're meant to be in time, and as you're walking through time, they get to finally show up, and it's gonna pull them even closer to you, because you're just being in time is the energy I'm getting. Wow, this is so fantastic. They're also showing me the movie In Time. That's a really old movie. I don't know why that's significant though, because they're showing me the scene from that movie where he finally gets, like, if you've never seen In Time, you should watch it. It's a really cool movie. It's about, like, you get a timer on your wrist, basically, of, like, how long you get to live instead of, like, having your full life. And so you run out of hours, and then you can just die. And this kid grows up without any time. He grows up in, like, a poor family. That's, like, what money is. You pay in time, which is pretty cool. And so he doesn't have much, but then he, like, goes and gambles or something, or no. Someone finds him and just, like, gives him all of their time because he's ready to go, and then he kills himself. And so this guy just, like, ends up with, like, so much time he can live, like, forever. Like, he becomes a wealthy person within one day, right? And then he starts to realize that there's so much more, and that's kind of what the movie's about, right? The movie's about, like, getting out of survival and recognizing that, like, there's so much more to this time, and there's so many new things that you'll be going up towards. There's also been a message that's been coming through of, like, I feel like recently you've really, like, in this, like, cycle of, like, trusting and this trust fall with the universe, you've also been simultaneously been learning that you're no longer in survival mode. Like, it's almost like you've been remembering that you're not in survival, that you don't need to live in survival. And in this remembering of that energy, you're basically coming back to this essence of who you really are, right? But, like, you're realizing that there's so much more to this. Again, with that tip of the iceberg, all these things, like, so coincide with this. And it makes so much sense. I hope it makes sense to you guys. But there's almost this energy of, like, it's in that recognition that, like, you actually have eternal time, that now you just get to sit down and experience. I mean, I'm hearing new ways of being. It's almost like, okay, they're giving me the concept of once you're out of survival and you sit down and you realize you're like, oh, like, I'm not in a rush to do this because I have what I need. You're like, and I don't have to do that because I'm good. And so you're sitting down in time with yourself and you're like, whoa, okay, there's so much more to this. Like, if I hadn't been in survival all these years, I never would have sat down with myself and realized how much more there is to dive into. There's almost this energy of, like, you're finally transforming yourself to the degree that now you're digging into places you never even saw existed because you were always in survival mode. Like, you were always in this energy of gotta get another hour, right? We'll use that time reference. Gotta get another hour so I don't die. Gotta get another whatever this is. Gotta get another this. Gotta get another this so that I'm good. You know, like, there was always another thing that you needed to make sure you had in order to be good. And there's something really significant here about, like, oh, now that you have, like, 1,000,000 hours or whatnot, probably, I can't remember the exact number from the movie, but like, let's just use 1 million. Or let's use 10 million, I don't know. Or 11 million, I like 11s. Okay, let's say you have 11 million hours, right? You're like, oh shit, like I have 11 million hours, okay, what now? And there's this energy of you sitting down and being like, whoa, like I was running for so long trying to get that 1 hour that I never even sat down to look at like all the other things that I can look at. This is falling back into that energy of intimidation, to be completely honest, and I think you're realizing now that there's just so much more. There's something here about there just being so much more to dive into, that like you just hit the tip of the iceberg and you were always running with the tip of the iceberg, but now you're like sitting in the iceberg and you're like, whoa, I am this iceberg and the depths are inside of me now. Now that I'm not running for an hour, I realize that I have a whole ocean to explore inside of me. And it's daunting. It's so daunting. Whew. But it's exciting too. There's almost this energy of you're like, whoa, like the depth that there is here is profound. It's eternal, but like they're telling me Exodus. I don't know what that means. Maybe that's significant for someone. This is the craziest, coolest energy. Okay, I think you should go watch In Time because that's a cool movie. They're showing me when they're swimming in the ocean, like breaking the rules now. That's so funny. He like falls in love with this like girl who's like a wealthy daughter, so she has like a lot of time, and he gets her to like break the rules and they go skinny dipping, I think, and they like go swimming out and she's like, we're gonna get in trouble, like you're not supposed to do this, blah blah, or whatever, and they're like swimming out in the middle of the night just like having fun. And it's almost like, oh, that's why they're showing me this. They're showing me the energy of like, you're the person who lived in survival for so long that now that you have the freedom of time, you're like, let's play, let's vibe, let's have fun. And I'm almost seeing that like you're meant to pull some people out of the energy of like the rules, is what I'm getting. Because the way that he like pulls that girl, that rich girl, that girl with lots of time, into the water to play and have fun, and she has the best time she's ever had in her life just in that energy. I'm almost getting that you're gonna be that character now that you have that, now that you're falling into that, now that you're trusting in the beyond, in the unknown, in the knowledge inside of you. Now that you're falling into that, you're gonna be in communion with beings who forgot how fun it is and how much of a gift it is to have that time, and that you don't have to live by the rules. It's almost like you're bringing this new character energy into a zone where they got rid of characters like you. Oh my gosh, they're bringing me back to Divergent. How they have like, in Divergent, they have people who have those abilities. Is that Divergent? I'm pretty sure it is. Or yeah. Isn't that Divergent? Well, certain people, they try to control them, and some of them are like, they have all the abilities, or all of the, whatever it is, the 5 senses, or the 6th sense, right? Where they like can't be controlled. That's almost the energy I'm getting. Like, there are communities that like got rid of beings like you because you break the rules and you create new realities in the breaking of the rules. And I feel like now that you've like gotten out of where you were once before and you're moving into this realm, you're going to be thrown into realities and communities specifically where you get to break the rules and you get to wake up, not just wake up, but remind people of how much essence they have inside of them with the gift of time too. It's like everything all mixed together, but you get to be like this reckoning into these communities of just like, there's more than this. You're like, you get to be that reminder of remembering. This is so like This is one of those messages that's just kind of beyond me, because I'm like, I really hope you guys get it. With every single thing we've said in this message like coincides. It's like everything is happening and it's like all connected at the same time. And it's just so profound. And I really hope you feel me. Like, you'll have to like comment down below and like tell me if this has made sense to you this whole time. But this has just been the wildest channel. Whew. Okay, that's the full channel. This morning I woke up and all I was hearing was like, you've been freaking yourself out recently. You've been freaking yourself out recently. And I was like, oh my gosh, the last time I woke up with a channel this loud in my head was like a while ago. Like, it's been a minute since, like, usually I have to sit and like listen to the ancestors to hear the channel the past like few, I would even say a couple of months. But this morning I just woke up and I was like, oh my god, it's here. Like, I have to record like now. I gotta get to my recording spot. I gotta get it. I was like, this is so loud. And oh, it felt so good this morning. I was like, wow, like it feels good to be like this connected. Like, I forgot, you know? Oh, okay. You guys are cool. That's the channel. I haven't talked to you guys in a minute about anything that's really been going on, because there's been a lot happening, but like a lot of freedom too. And I've just been really I've been doing a lot of deep like inner work this past week. And so there's been a whole lot of like, lots of like healing work that I've been moving through, and it's been kind of heavy, to be completely honest. Which is so beautiful, and I feel so gifted to have the abilities I have to be able to do energy work on myself and like truly like, and to have my ancestors all around, and I feel so lucky, right? But it's definitely hard work, you know, like it feels dense sometimes, not all the time. It feels like it's very polar. It can be so dense in one moment and be like excruciating pain, and the next moment it feels like absolute freedom. And it's so beautiful, but it's also just like, sometimes I like to keep my inner work to myself while I'm moving through it before I like talk about anything, because it is just, inner work is meant to be an experience that you have for yourself, you know what I mean? Like, and you move through it in a safe space, and by keeping it to yourself, you keep it safe and you keep it sacred. And so that's what I've been going through this past week. And I also have like more stuff happening. Happy June, by the way. It's June. How did it get to June? It's June of 2025 right now. But of course this message is timeless, as they all are, which is why I never mention dates, so I can find you at any point and be in resonance. But yeah, happy month, whatever month it is for you when you're finding this message. And I'm excited to see what unfolds. Yeah. Okay, I love you guys. I'm not gonna give you that much more because I'm still working through a lot in my brain and my heart and my body. My body is moving through a lot right now. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm sure I will update you guys or talk about it at some point, but yeah. For now, this is it. And I really have to go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go pee. And I love you. And let me know what you thought of this channel. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.